Hello and welcome to the whole conversation. I'm Dr. Julie Krull, and with me today is Marian Head. Hi, Marian.
Hi, Julie. It's so good to be here with you again today.
Oh, I know, and I see those posters behind you, and I have my revolutionary agreements right here, and I love doing whole conversations on this, and we're going to do today, lighten up.
Yes.
Lighten
Oh
up.
my gosh. I
I
don't know
need to
about you, but
lighten
I
up.
need it.
I need it. I need it. Tell us more about lighten up. What does lighten up mean, and why is that a revolutionary agreement?
Well, first of all, it's funny because when you read all the agreements, some of them are pretty serious. And those of us who have been in the personal and spiritual growth world, we can get kind of serious. Have you ever seen anybody meditate? It's like, it looks so serious. And I actually had a teacher who said, when you close your eyes to meditate, put on the face of an innocent child.
Oh,
Hmm, that's a
hmm.
good one. I'm happy to share that with everybody.
Yeah.
It makes a difference. It lightens us up. And I notice that my Tai Chi teacher of almost 30 years, we were on a bus together where you could see people across from each other. And I noticed how serious everybody is and how worried everybody looks on the bus, but not him. He had this most beautiful countenance, just light,
Mm.
that it inspires me. And I remember that sometimes and lighten up. Um, I have a lot of lighten up stories, Julie. Should I dive into one of them?
I would love, yeah, dive into one lighten up story and we'll see where it goes because
Okay,
I have some lighten up stories myself.
good. Well, probably the most important time of my life to lighten up was after my first and only dear child was born. And what we really needed, my husband and I, during the ensuing years, was a good sense of humor. So I've been laughing thinking about it now because we had such a hot romance for 6 years. I mean, really lots of passion and lots of love. And then our son came along. And those of you who are parents who are watching this know things can change. Then I had the little babe in arms and I had all that cuddling and all that loving. And it wasn't quite as exciting for me to continue to be touched all over, all the time, when I've been touched all over all day long. So it was different. And we laughed about it a lot. We had a great sense of humor. And, it could have been terrible, but it wasn't. We made it. We made it through that time with a good sense of humor.
Mm.
Uh, we certainly can use lighten up in our world today. And that's a different way of looking at lighten up. I just had this sigh because I thought of our big sense of responsibility that we have
Yeah.
for the good of the whole. And when I suggest to people that they lighten up, they get upset. Instead of lightening up, they go, "How can we lighten up? There's all this happening in the world." Ah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
How do you
what
respond to that?
what I've learned about lightening up. Well, first of all, does it feel better to feel light or heavy?
Good question. Feels better
What
to
would
feel light.
Right, what
Yeah.
would we rather feel? So let's start there. So then what I discovered about lightening up is that when I am in the present moment, it's always good. It's always good
Yeah.
in this moment. I'm alive. I have love in my life. Now, the agreements that were given to me that I can share with others. So what I notice about the heaviness is it almost always has to do with something that hasn't happened yet. That's
Yeah.
in our imagination.
Yes.
And that certainly is true in the political realm these days. Oh my God, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. Now, I'm not saying don't do anything about it, but there's a good question to ask ourselves, which is, what is mine to do?
Yes.
Yeah, so Julie, what is yours to do?
This is really an important piece to lighten up. I like how you brought humor in at first, and we have a lot of different ways to lighten up, and we can talk about more. But when we ask that question, what is mine to do?
Mhm.
It brings us into the doable. It really brings us into the manageable, realistic part that's ours to play. because you're right. So many people are going, oh, we got to change the world. And I love when Gandhi said, be the change you wish to be, wish to see in the world. And so many people are like, instead of just what's mine to do to be the change, it's like, we've got to change everything.
Mm.
And that's not doable. It's not realistic. And so what's mine to do brings me right back to my neighborhood, my community, my workplace, my relationships, my family, my friends, and my passion and my gifts. So I like that as a lighten up. It's like bring it back to what's mine to do, and then I can play and have fun with what's mine to do.
Yeah, and I saw your smile, and then you're making your contribution.
Yes.
It does makes no contribution to simply worry about the future.
Yeah.
It's like, what is mine to do? I have these agreements that I can offer people to help us lighten up, find the joy in our lives, be more productive, be more creative. It's the gift that's been given to me to give, and each of us has that.
Yeah. There's another piece to this lighten up when you're on this track, Marian, that I'd love to get your opinion on is not only what's mine to do, but that sense of responsibility that you talked about. And there's, we're here to change the world. We're here to do our part. And then when you talk about others really getting mad, when you say lighten up, they're like, the world is falling apart, right? How can you, it's like there's an assumption that lightening up is ignorance to
Mm.
pain or lack of compassion for the pain in the world or the suffering of others. Or it's almost like there's this new age guilt placed on us if we're not carrying around the burdens of the world. And I'm guilty of this, and just really let go and really worked on releasing this past year because I felt responsible, right? So with that part of lighten up, how do we empower people to really hold the consciousness and the intention of the good of the whole while really being in that joy of what's ours to do?
Boy, I so recognize what you're talking about in terms of the responsibility, the burdens we feel, how can we? I think one of the greatest mentors that I have, not a personal mentor, but a public mentor, is the Dalai Lama.
Mm,
Now, he clearly has a lot to be upset about, and yet he radiates this joy. He doesn't deny the suffering that we go through as human beings, or refrain from tremendous compassion. He has a huge capacity for compassion. He doesn't stay in the lower vibrations of anger and certainly not fear and or apathy or so it's or complaining. I can't even think of the Dalai Lama complaining.
yeah.
He would be looking for how to shine the light on something and how to maybe that's him right now, Julie.
I think that's the Dalai Lama. Oh my gosh.
Sometimes when this is also a great way to lighten up when there's an interruption that's unexpected to make something good out of it. And
That,
I have a cute story about that. I was at a Tony Robbins event, and it was one of these huge thousands of people events. But he said when he started, he was in smaller spaces and not so elaborate. And he once was on very close to a train track. And every now and then, when he was just making a big point or something, this train would go by and it would drown him out. And so he said, every time the train goes by, let's use it as a break and stand up and celebrate. And so he now, at these big hotel ballrooms, he has a train whistle. And every
oh,
now and then he'll pick up the train whistle and he'll blow it. And then the screens will fill with celebration, people dancing, and everybody gets up and moves around because you're in your seat a lot during the day with his programs. And it's perfect. So lightening up would be how to turn something good, something that's good into something better, or something that annoys you into something that's good.
oh, nice. Yes, that is good. And the ability to just be in the moment and roll with that brings us back to, again, there's nothing to worry about, really. There's really, we're not in the future, we're not projecting all the bad, but when we're in the moment and we really relax, we can roll with anything that comes to us. There's one more piece about Lighten Up that I really want to ask you about before we close here, because I think it's important. So when I'm saying whatever comes at me, I can meet it with my best self.
Mm.
And I can't do that if I'm in worry or stress or constriction or fear or anger. So really, Lighten Up is a healing balm that allows us to come into our fullest potential to meet what comes toward us with our best selves. I'm wondering if you can speak to that a little bit.
Well, I love being in our best selves.
Yeah.
um, just what occurs to me, Julie, is we're always given inspiration. And one of the most inspiring pieces that helps me with this came out of a movie called Bridge of Spies. And it was a movie about one of our pilots landing in the Soviet Union, and we had one of their spies in the United States, and we exchanged them across the bridge.
Mm,
But the spy from the Soviet Union had a lawyer in the United States. And the lawyer would ask him questions like, well, aren't you worried about going back over there where they may think that you have given away secrets and what will happen to you? He said, aren't you worried? And the spy would say, would it help? Like, sincerely, would it help to worry? And the same thing happened earlier, like 3 times through the movie. You know, aren't you worried about going to jail here? Will people know that you're a spy? And, well, would it help? And so my husband and I have got onto that phrase. And so when we begin to worry, and one of us notices it, we'll say to the other, well, does it help? Or I'm worried about something. Oh, does that help you? And we start to laugh just like you just did.
yeah.
So use everything. We
Yes.
can use everything that we are given for inspiration, to lighten up, to keep the
Yes.
vibration up in our
Yes.
universe. That's the best
Yes.
thing we can do, is keep the energetic frequency high for people. That's easy to share.
Yeah, absolutely. And so me as a psychologist, I just want to say the lightening up part, the worry part, literally, it's a healing balm to be in that lightness and to be in that
Mm.
vibration. It's just, it brings us into our capacity in such a more immediate way. And worry and fear and all of those things literally begin to shut us down, and we don't have the capacity to meet those stressors head on. So I love it. I love it from me, from my professional experience and expertise. It's a good one, Marian. It's
So
a good one.
maybe we could end this little segment by both of us saying that agreement together. Do you think,
Okay.
like on the count of three?
Is it just lighten up? Is that all I have to say?
I agree. I agree to lighten up. And
Let's do
maybe
it.
everybody who's watching it can do it with us.
Yeah, do it with us.
1, 2, 3.
I
I agree
agree to
to
lighten
lighten
up.
up.
Yay! Woo! Thanks,
You're
Marian.
welcome.
I love this, and I really appreciate this one especially because it's so much fun. So thanks. We'll see you next time.
Very good. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.